Preparing to live stream. Okay, a few more little steps that I didn't realize we were going to have to go through here. I thought I would just hit the button, we'd go live. Not awkward at all. Not awkward.
We'll laugh about this one day.
Yes, we've got it. Woo! I can even see it totally. Okay, so we say it's not awkward at all as we're sitting here waiting, just got put onto the live video. That's awesome. All right, so now the issue that we have going on is I'm in two places at once. All right, let's do this. You guys, thank you so much for your patience as you come on in with us and you get to see us. All right, I'm pretty sure that this is going really well. Now we've got it. We're actually here. We're gonna have to figure out a way to be able to edit out that beginning as it was an awkward transition. Thank you so much, you guys, because this is the very first time that I'm actually logging on in using the Zoom capabilities that it has with YouTube, and so this is really cool. I get to experience this with Lisa Vicino, who is here with us, and it is a lot of fun to be able to have really cool people that you get to connect with on a daily basis. And Lisa is one of those people. Like you are going to be like so jazzed and pumped about doing online tutoring after you like listen to this lady talk, because she's so pumped about what it is that she does. And, you know, nothing excites me more than to award people like her that are really making a huge difference in the online tutoring world. Now, one of the things that I have found with this is, you know, people ask me the question, they say, Joanne, how do people get this Tutorpreneur Hero Award? Well, there are a couple of things. So in order to get the Tutorpreneur Hero Award, you need to be an Insider Secrets Club member. So it's somebody who's inside of our community. They come to our live calls and they're getting clients. Okay. So there's somebody that is helping other tutors within the group, and they have gotten to a point inside of their business where they're getting clients and they finally feel like they've got that funnel going. And I like to award people at like different stages and different levels of where they're at in their journey. And it doesn't matter if your book solid is 5 students or if your book solid is like 40 students that you want to be able to work with. What matters is that you're getting the success in your business that you want. And I think that is what's the most important thing. So today I've got Lisa here, and she is receiving her Tutorpreneur Hero Award. Woo!
Thank you so much, Joanne. It really is an honor, and it actually means quite a bit to me to be recognized. Running your online tutoring business can be a little isolating and lonely, and the Insider Secrets Club is wonderful for feeling that you have the support, but also you have this group of individuals that you get to know and, you know, share your successes with, ask questions, and it's really a wonderful group to belong to, and I'm just honored to be selected this month. Thank you.
Well, you know, it's so fun when like you just have like this, you just like elude like excitement about like online tutoring, and I absolutely love it. And you love everything like about math, and you know, you really like jazz people up inside of our group, and you're really great at like making people feel good inside of our group and our community. And it wouldn't be the same without people like you that are, you know, those like amazing cheerleaders, like cheering people on and giving boom chas and all that kind of stuff inside of there. So it is a lot of fun. So tell us, like, what was your like teaching journey like as before you even started doing this whole like online tutoring thing? What was that like for you?
So in college, I ran a computer lab for the college, and I would at the time, you know, there weren't computers in every house. Just to date myself a little bit, but anyways. So when you went to college, if you needed to type a paper, you went to a computer lab to type your paper, and you might never have used that software or known how to work a mouse or anything, So I would actually show students how to do all of that. And then I worked for the English department, and I would help with grammar and papers and stuff like that. I got to know a lot of students. Later on, I tutored math, which was up until I did 2 years of math training, and that was my major. And the school said, hey, we need a math tutor for this class you're taking, and you're doing well in. So I wound up tutoring. And then it was just whenever you needed to do anything that involved math, you said, Lisa, how do I do that? And, I kind of went about it in a roundabout way. I have a lot of passions, and I went and got an accounting degree, which is still kind of mathish.
Yeah.
And I worked in business for about 15 years, all the while informally tutoring or helping people. And then I decided, hey, I don't want to be in the business world anymore. I really want to go back and do something that I'm passionate about and that I love. And that when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking, how many hours of tutoring can I do? How many people can I help? And I just came back to it, partly because a friend of mine said, my kid has math homework that I have no idea how to do, and she's in 3rd grade. And I took a look at it, I played with it, and then that kind of birthed my tutoring business.
So,
Very
cool.
Yeah. And it's just been wonderful. I love it. I started like many tutors, in person, local. And then I started dabbling with the online kind of before people were really comfortable doing it or knew that it was an option.
Yeah.
And now I'm 100% online.
Oh, that's so cool. That is awesome. And we got some people in the house that want to congratulate you. We've got Suzanne Davis. Woo! We've got Elizabeth, and we've got Rajalik that are saying, hey, congratulations. And Elizabeth gave you a boom chop.
Awesome. Hi, Elizabeth. So good to see you yesterday.
So I'm like super excited that like we've got this like all up and running, and it's yay. It's so exciting. So you then moved into the praxis and that test and helping teachers. Tell us, how did you get into really getting known in that particular area?
Yeah, so I got involved in the praxis probably about a year before they moved to the current system that they have right now with the core. So it used to be Praxis 1, Praxis 2. And people were just seeking me out, looking for an algebra tutor or a geometry tutor. And I helped a few students. And then I got this like light bulb that said, hey, if I help people become confident in math, that are going to be teachers. And I help them with that certification process by helping them pass this test. It's pretty difficult if you're not a math person, which, we all have our zone of genius, and a lot of teachers, most of them are not, ooh, I love math. Look at this awesome math problem like me. So I thought, if I can help them become confident in math and maybe a little more excited about math, how many students could I impact over the course of that one teacher's career? And I spent a whole year working solely with praxis students. It was a lot of fun. I dug really deep into that, the math specific for that test. And I started to learn a lot about, mindfulness, negative racing thoughts and stuff like that, because it's a big mindset thing. The messages we tell ourselves, I'm not good at that. I can't do that. I'll never be able to do that. And there are a lot of those messages associated with math that started building back when a child was, first or second grade. So I started really digging into that and kind of the background psychology of how to help somebody perform when they're really truly struggling.
Right.
And it's been fantastic. Now I've helped a lot, probably about 50, 60 students with the praxis. And then I decided I really want to also come back to working with students, and I particularly want to work with younger students and make it so that, you know, they're not suffering for years because they've got, you know, they're convinced that they can't do math. And so that's what I'm really focused on. I'm still doing praxis, but you'll hear me talk more about elementary school, middle school, because I'm really trying to get the word out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so great to be able to, you know, you get to hang out to your students just a little bit longer too, when you're in, you know, when you're working with the elementary, the middle school versus praxis. It's like, you know, maybe a couple months that you're kind of working with somebody, and then you're constantly having to find new students to be able to place that. So it's great to have that as like, you do this, but then you also have like something that's going to be a little bit more regular for you when it comes to running.
Absolutely. Because as I got better at it, you know, now 80% of my praxis students, they're there for a month.
Yeah.
And then they're done. They might have to take a second test that has some math in it. Students looking for the elementary school certification, they do have more math to take. But generally, I'm at the point now, it's about a month, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah.
And it is tough where every month you're starting at no students.
Right. I can imagine. It's a lot easier when you're running a tutoring business where, you know, month to month to month, you're going to have these clients. But if you're constantly starting ground zero every single month, that makes it really hard, and it becomes like self-defeating, and it's like, can I really do this? And so you started adding in some new students, and you've been doing that. Tell us a little bit about how do you teach math online?
Yeah, so, and that's a big question for a lot of students. Parents ask me this all the time. And what I do is a little bit of a combination. I have a lot of online curriculum. I buy a lot of things from Teachers Pay Teachers. And I have whole curriculums for like middle school and high school. And so I can bring up worksheets up on my screen, and then I can write on the worksheet, which is such a neat thing. And I can save that information so the student can look back on it later. I encourage them to take notes, but sometimes when you look back at your notes, you're like, am I missing a piece? Or, you know, how did this happen? You know, how did we get from step 1 to step 2? So it does really help. The other thing I do is I do use some resources. I really like iExcel, especially when we're preparing for a test. I can jump around in all the skills.
Yeah. And
if a skill happens to be beyond the student's level, I can pull back and do, you know, the skill that they need to know how to do the skill.
Right.
So I can move around quite quickly, and it makes our session very effective because we're getting a lot of ground covered in a short period of time.
Yeah.
The other thing I do, and I'm so glad you asked about this because I'm very excited about it, is so conceptual. Students have a really hard time visualizing volume and surface area. So I found this neat little thing. So you would use this as your volume of your shape. This is a rectangular prism, in case anybody's wondering. And then I pull this out, and this is actually the surface area. And I can use this on a lot of shapes to show how they actually got the formula. And it really does help, especially with your cylinders. Another thing I do, so these are all math manipulatives, and I'm really having a great time learning how to use these. So I'm actually demonstrating an algebra problem here, factoring.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just base 10 units, which you can buy really affordable. And what it does is it takes something that's just looks like a lot of letters and numbers to a child.
Yeah.
And it gives them the concept. Now, they're not going to do this every time they do a math problem, but it can help them to understand how it all fits together, which is really great and critical for certain types of learners. So
yeah, that's really cool. I've never seen the magnets like that before.
yeah, it's really fun. I actually want to get a set that's not magnetic, that's more three-dimensional.
Okay.
So that I can actually, I'm going to get a camera and work with it like right in front of the camera. And
Yeah,
so
like this.
that, yes, that's my plan. And I have things like that for like another tough concept, fractions. I have math manipulatives for that. So within a session, I could start with a worksheet, realize they need some foundation work, go into IXL, work that foundation. Then I could pull back and show them, something concrete that represents that. And all this happens very seamlessly, which is wonderful. And then the parents are always like, you did all that in an hour. So and it's not always that I plan to do it. In fact, all that stuff is waiting on, bookshelves and on my computer, ready to be used whenever it needs to, because I'm adapting as I go.
Right. And I think that's the most fun part about tutoring online is it's not like, and that makes it easier on the tutor because you don't always have to plan out. You just need to know what resources to use and when to use them. And once you have that in place, like you're like, oh, well, I can use this to teach this. I can use this to teach this. Then all of a sudden you can bring that all together. And when a child is struggling with a concept, you're like, oh, let me grab this and show. And then if they don't get it that way, let me grab this and I'll show it to you this way, right? Like all those different ways that to do it. Sindhu thinks that this is just absolutely awesome. She's like, congratulations, first off. And she said, this is such a great idea. She's going to use it with her geometry lessons from here on in.
Yeah. And it makes it more fun. It really, especially when I pull out props, that really engages the student.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. And whether that is a prop that you're using right here, like right in front of them with the camera.
Yeah.
I remember Atal telling me that when he first started doing online tutoring, it was him and a whiteboard and an actual whiteboard. We're not talking like an online whiteboard. So we can make online tutoring as difficult or as easy as we want. Like we can make it as complicated or as simplistic as we want. The most important thing is, are we able to help the specific child that's in front of us be able to master the concept, and we can really choose all the resources and tools that we want to be able to do that. Do you use bit paper as well?
Yeah. So as an example, I'm working with two middle school students right now, and they had testing coming up. So a good portion of our lesson was in IXL because I'm using a lot of different skills and I can just click on, each link to a page and it quickly brings me to a skill. I could do 5 of them. I could do 10 problems, whatever they need, and then shift. But when they hit a point where they're saying, I'm not really sure what to do here, I can change over with one click to bit paper and have the board and give them a little lesson, then go right back to IXL and let them apply it. So yeah, it works really, really well. And bit paper is wonderful. I really love how easy it is for me to save it, how easy it is for me to PDF it. And I use a program, an LMS, which is basically it's an online classroom and like all the resources for that student sit there.
Oh, okay.
So if I have a lesson, I PDF that lesson's boards. So with the older kids, more of our work is done on the boards because they're more complicated. And then I put that PDF in my LMS. So they have access to all the boards from every lesson. And if I want to give them a worksheet or a link to a Khan Academy video, I can put that all together into units, and it makes it really easy for the student. So yeah, and that's been really nice. And it's become easier for me because I've created these units and put them in this filing cabinet, I guess, on the LMS.
Yeah.
Because I use a lot of the same things over and over, you know, depending on need. I don't give everybody everything. I'm giving them the resources as they need them.
Right.
But it made it very easy for me because I don't have to search for the resource or the worksheet for that student for that one thing. So I can, in fact, during the lesson, a lot of times I'm like, okay, let me click that button. You have it now. So I don't forget about it. They know they have it. The parent can hop in, see what resources I'm giving them, and they can, you know, with the younger kids, they could say, did you watch those videos that Miss Lisa gave you?
Right.
And I really like everything being very transparent and keeping the parent in the loop. And sometimes I say, hey, if you want, check out that video, and then you'll know how to do the skill that your kid is learning.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's great. Kind of keeps them right on into the mix there, and they can feel like they're a part of it as well.
Yeah.
So Tabs Google Lessons would like to know, what is an LMS exactly?
So these a lot of times are used for schools. So a lot of parents, it might be called the parent portal for your school, for your kid's school, where you log in, and you might, on those, you're seeing grades and attendance and stuff like that. Mine doesn't get that involved because I don't grade the kids.
Right.
But it's just, it lives on the web, on the internet, and it's through this company. And what you do is I create a classroom for each of my students, and it's where all their documents live and all the links to resources live. So if I want them, Quizlet is another resource I use. If I pick a deck of cards on Quizlet for my student to study, I give a link to it in their portal. And then they don't have to go hunting down on Quizlet which one of these sets is a good set. They know because I picked it for them.
Yep.
And then they're not looking for the email of the resource that I sent them 3 weeks ago. Everything is together. It's organized. And absolutely, it's really, really, it's made life a lot easier for me.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to like how Suzanne Davis organizes it kind of inside of Google Classroom.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's actually part of the capabilities of that is kind of like an LMS. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. That's awesome. So we've got more people coming on into the chat here, which is interesting because it tells me that there's 2 people, and then I see like all these people who are commenting. So I'm like, well, so the numbers aren't right on here. Who knows? It's all a learning curve today, you guys. A total learning curve. Not only that, come back later because we're going to be doing 2 o'clock Facebook Live inside of Facebook using this tool. So we'll see how that one goes. If it's easier, is it the same? Is it more technical?
You'll be great. It'll work.
It's crazy when we get to learn all these new resources and these new tools. It's exciting and it's a lot of fun. So I absolutely love being able to do it.
Yeah, the one thing I underestimated when I started my tutoring practice was how much a jack of all trades I was going to wind up being. I've learned so much more than I ever thought I'd know about marketing and about technology, running a business, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And so when it comes to marketing, because this is always everybody's number one question, how do you get students? So what are some of the ways that you have found have been helpful for you to be able to get students?
Yeah. So this year, as I was winding down my Praxis students, and then I took a little vacation time, I started the year with one student that was going to need a little 4-lesson primer for her test. And that's all I had on like scheduled.
Wow.
So January 2nd, I opened up the computer and went, oh boy. I knew it was going to happen, but it's still a little unsettling.
Very.
And one of the things that I've learned is, there's two different types of marketing. You have your short-term marketing and your long-term marketing techniques. And I said, okay, it's time for some short-term marketing.
Yes.
First thing I did is I reached out to all my former students. And what I did, so now I have a lot of teachers out teaching in the world, right, that are all certified. And also they have friends and family, and some of them have kids. I get a lot of returning students. So I reached out, said, hey, I'd love an update. How you doing? What's going on? If they hadn't given me a testimonial yet, I sent them a link to my testimonial form and a little PS that said, hey, just to give you an update, I'm still doing the praxis, but I'm also working with, elementary and middle school and high school students too. And if you know anybody, send them my way. They're going to get the VIP treatment. I'll give a discount to them because they're a friend of yours. And I'll send you a little referral gift as a thank you. And I sent that out. And I just looked at the numbers the other day. I got 2 referrals from that, just from a batch of emails that I sent back in January.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I did that. Then Ram did his video.
Yep.
And I had some success with Craigslist.
Okay.
I know at the time, everybody was like, are you really getting clients from Craigslist? It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to like pay for the ads and some extra.
Sure.
So I go, hey, I got to try this. This is great. So I redo my ad. And I hadn't been using keywords. I hadn't been using the emojis. He used a lot of, kind of marketing language, more selling than here's my resume.
Right.
I rewrite it and I put on there, if you buy a package, you get a bonus lesson. So a special Craigslist deal.
Okay.
So I did that, and I have actually I've made actually pretty decent amount of money this year from Craigslist. I've had 3 students that bought packages. 2 are in my monthly recurring subscription.
Okay.
Which that's my target ideal client.
Right.
And they're both in middle school. And so I got those. And then I got a few other test prep things where they did the test prep. And then, once they were done, but they were still great clients.
Yeah.
Then everybody starts talking about tutors.com.
Okay.
Well, I got to get over there.
Yeah.
Because I had some success on Thumbtack before it became just a money hole.
Yes.
So I said, let's try it. I went on, I beefed up my profile with some pictures. I answered some questions, selected the subjects, and I got a really wonderful student from it and we're doing a deep dive. Actually, this one's a lot of fun. Usually I work with students that need like intervention work. This student is in a very tough honors class. He's learning geometry that I didn't learn until sophomore, junior year.
And what grade is he in?
So he's a junior.
Okay.
And so challenging, where I have to go, I haven't looked at that in a long time. Study to help. Those honors classes, very competitive. He's taking 4 or 5 honors classes. So
Yeah.
he's not sleeping a lot, which is typical of those students because the homework and the studying, it's a lot. And those kids tend to also have, sports or clubs or some, they're very busy students.
Yeah.
So we lifted up his grades. It's been a lot of fun. I've looked at some geometry I haven't looked at in a couple of years. So that's been really great. And yeah, it's just, I really focused in on my short-term stuff and it's been wonderful. And I'm about ready to really get back into my social media presence because I let it sit to the side because I was like, I need to work on things that'll get me students this month. And I did that for a few months and it's been really great. I'm loving the clients I'm working with. I'm getting better at having my conversations about my tutoring service. I'm far more confident. You had a conference on that. I feel like it was a month ago, and it made a big difference. And I noticed that parents would say to me, I feel like you're the person for my family. And I wasn't experiencing that before, even though I had all this math background and I'm confident in my math.
Right.
I would get so nervous when I did these phone calls.
And I hear you. Yes.
And now I know what I'm going to say. I'm not nervous. I'm not, pacing around the house going, oh boy, I have to say, hey, and the cost is blank,
Yeah.
So that helped a lot too, because I feel like I converted more leads into clients.
Yes, that's so awesome. And so like just being able to practice it like with, kind of going through the structure of, okay, here's this type of conversation. Here's how we have it. Now we're going to move on to this conversation for the next one. And here's how you have that. And then here's how you go into the dreaded sales conversation. And it's not dreaded anymore, is it? Because you're getting so much more confident with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my husband can't believe, he's like, you just get on and you say, yeah, and this is what the package is. And I go, yeah, I do. And he never thought that I would be comfortable with that because I am actually pretty introverted.
Is that funny? So am I.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Funny story. I spent much of my childhood hiding behind books. And
me too.
My mom would actually have to say, you are putting the book down and you are going outside. You haven't been outside in 2 days. It's time to go outside.
Yes.
But so having those conversations was really hard for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with it. And if I'm comfortable, that makes them more comfortable. It makes it less awkward for them. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what actually sells them. It's not your price. It's actually your confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's how well can you have a conversation, hold it decently, and then when price comes up, like I tell people, like sometimes I like leave the sales conversation and I never even talked about money. And they're like, wait, what? No, seriously. Like I just send them the link, they pay, we're done. And then we have our session. And there's so many people that just don't believe that we do that. And they're like, but I'm charging $35 an hour. You're charging $75 an hour. And I have people telling me that I'm charging too much. And I think, now, nobody get mad at me here, okay? But I've come up with an observation over time, and that is that people use money as a scapegoat as the reason why they're not moving forward with us, and it's not actually the reason why they're not moving forward with us.
Yeah, I agree, and there is that kind of kick the tire, aspect to it sometimes because there are a lot of tutors, and what I found was by focusing on what's happening with the student, and you talk about this all the time, and what can you do? I actually had a student that already had a tutor, but it just wasn't working. And they were very attached to them. And they said, we're going to try you out, and I said, that's fine. And they said, the tutor's saying they're not sure what else to do, and everybody felt very defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up with like 6 or 7 things that we could try to see if any of them would stick.
Sure.
And I said, I'm not going to pick one and then just stick with it, hoping it works. We're going to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And if these 6 or 7 things don't work, I'm going to find more things that might work.
Right.
And they start trying me. And 2 weeks later, they said, we're going to let go of the other tutor.
Mm-hmm.
And they had been with the other tutor for, I want to say, a couple of years.
Okay.
And I never said anything about the tutor. I
Sure.
never questioned their skills or anything like that. I just said, here are the things that I've tried with other students.
Yep.
And I'm willing to look into it and find other things if these don't work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, when we really start diving deep into what is it that this specific child needs and what is it that the parent is looking for, I think you come off as such a more sincere tutor and more authentic, and they feel like they can connect with you more versus somebody who's like, so I've had all this experience and I've taught this many years, or I've had this many students. Those things don't actually sell your services. They bore them to pieces and they start looking elsewhere versus, when somebody starts having a real conversation about what's going on for your child, and that's where the conversation is focused, all of a sudden the money thing starts to disappear. Like that line of, I thought I would never be able to afford this much. It just starts to kind of wither away, and it starts turning more into, we're going to figure out how to pay for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there's been some talk, because I talk to a lot of other tutors where they say, but if I raise my prices, that cuts out this whole population. And a few people have said, well, charge what you want. And when you are able, if you want to, you can offer a special rate to, kind of a scholarship or to somebody in need that you want to help,
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I put out, we all put out a lot of content, and that's a resource that people that might not be able to pay for tutoring that they can use.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know, certain schools offer tutoring at lower rates. There's a couple of companies that have subscriptions. I don't know about the quality of the tutoring happening there, but there are other options, and you can't serve everybody.
Yeah, exactly. No, we absolutely can't. And if you think about it, this is a paid service. And so it's different than volunteers. A volunteer is not somebody, like, usually volunteers aren't the people that have like the education and the experience and all of that, right? Volunteers usually like, a grandmother who like, they just want to go on in and read with the child or something like that, right? Like, and so there are tutors out there that will offer some voluntary services. It's just not going to be at the same level. And is it fair? I don't know, but I do know that when people pay for my services, they are that much more committed to actually showing up. And I do work with some people where I've said, okay, I'll give a $10 or a $20 discount to help them. And then they've looked into other ways to be able to pay for it. I have one that got a scholarship through, it was through a Florida scholarship for kids struggling with reading. They had to have a certain, like, score a certain level, and this child did. And she ended up getting $500 towards private tutoring for every year that she qualifies for the scholarship.
That's wonderful.
And that kind of stuff helps. So, people can seek out the resources and the tools that are going to allow them to do it, or they can just be like stifled by the number and move on. But most people who find me, move forward with me, they're like, the number one concern or reason, it has nothing to do with money whatsoever. And so I think that's really pivotal for people to take into into consideration. Now, recently you just joined the Reading Interventionist course.
I did. I'm so very excited. I get super jazzed up about math, but I get equally jazzed up about reading.
Yeah.
And it was such a huge part of my life. It still is. I read about 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And in addition to anything I'm doing in math.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always been a passion for me. And it does really impact the course of an individual's life if they are not confident in reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking to add that to my services. And you recently had a discussion about how you help students, some of your reading students, you do some math work with them. You notice there's a big crossover with struggling with reading and, say, word problems.
Yep.
I actually teach word problems using the grammar and punctuation in a word problem. For clues.
Okay.
And it's really a neat thing, and it helps the non-math thinking person, the person that thinks more creatively and verbally. It can give them enough of an edge to have some confidence in solving those.
For sure.
So yeah, absolutely. And those, I mean, the two skills, and writing, that's another one. If you have those three, you don't have limits.
Yeah, it's true.
You're passionate about, you can go forward with it if you have those three skills. So
that's so true. Important. It just opens doors, doesn't it? It opens so many doors for people for success and opportunities, and really to enjoy a life in our very literate society.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the world is about information.
Yeah.
And I imagine that will become even more so as it's accelerating so quickly right now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to feel limited.
Yeah.
But, I actually helped somebody that would avoid, an adult that would avoid reading at all cost and would hand it to me and say, I need you to read this.
Oh.
And he had struggled all through school, and I read a few techniques. I had no idea what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was different from how he had learned. And he reads every day now. And I certainly don't get all the credit for it. I didn't do a lot.
Yeah.
I think it started his journey because he didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
And life is about possibility.
It really is.
Yeah. So spreading that as much as I can, and especially for young children, they should feel like the world is wide open for them.
Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. And just to have people in their life like you that believe in them and what's possible for them is so incredible. Like you have like a lifetime like career here, and whether it's with reading or with math or with praxis or whatever, like you are just going to like just keep opening doors for people where doors may have been closed. And it's so awesome to really be a part of that and walk that journey with you and see you do that. And oh my gosh, like I just get like the tingles like all over, because I'm just like, oh, that's so exciting stuff.
It really is. And it's so fun. I've met people from all different backgrounds, different cultures, different life experiences. And even with something like math that sounds like it's kind of dry, like, oh boy, we're going to talk about algebra, an hour every week. There's still connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so important. And that's what life's worth living, is meeting people and connecting with people. So
it sure is. And that's how we have to approach it, even like when we're trying to sell our services, that it's not about us really selling, it's about us connecting, right? Yeah. It's about us engaging with the other person, finding out what their needs are, what is it that they're looking for, and then deciding, is this going to be a right fit? As we decide to make this journey together, is this going to be right? And sometimes it's hard being able to piece it down and be like, I'm just not sure that this is a right fit at this point in time.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can't help.
absolutely.
We can't help everybody, and so nobody should feel like they should. But I absolutely love being part of this community with you guys. And you guys, if you see above here where our lovely Elizabeth gave a boom cha, please do me two things right now. I want you to copy that boom cha. That's the fist and the firework. Okay. And this is what the boom cha looks like here. When we join in Zoom, this is what it looks like. We take our
Are we doing it?
we're gonna do it. Are we ready? Let's boom cha all the people that joined us in a chat. What do you think?
Definitely.
All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Boom! Sha! Now, Matt Macon helped us create that, you guys. So if Matt, you're listening, he helped design our boom cha, and you know, and this one's just for you, Lisa. This is your boom cha. You ready? Boom! Sha!
Thank you.
All right, let's see
So
what we got.
fun.
Our Allie, she just boom chawed you. You
Hey,
see that?
Allie.
Oh, we got another one. Sindhu boom chawed you. Woo! Which is awesome. And why are we boom chawing her? Because she is the Tutorpreneur hero for this month. And like I said, it's just absolutely awesome. So for, you know, and the doors right now for the Insider Secrets Club, they're closed. Nobody can enter. Sorry, guys, if you're not in, you can't enter. But they are going to be opening up again next month. So somebody who's like on the fence and thinking about like, should I join the Insider Secrets Club or not? Should I be a member? What would you say to them?
So I'm still a little in awe of how much value there is in the club. Even if you focus on one aspect of it, you're getting more than what you put into it. The group coaching, right now you've got that beginner's call, which even though I'm more established in my tutoring journey, is still so very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
The community where we can share successes, questions, difficult conversations, which you just had that really great video on. And we really support each other. You are so active in the community, and the tech call. So if you don't know how to use BitPaper, or you don't know how to use Zoom, or you're not sure how to work a feature on, you know, your Wix site, just so many valuable parts of the group, and just one is worth it. But if you have the time to get more involved, really amazing. I've made some wonderful friends. I've learned a lot about different areas of tutoring just because we all come to the table with different skills.
Mm-hmm.
Some are amazing at Pinterest or Instagram or marketing or sales conversations, how to tutor math, how to use BitPaper, and everybody shares.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, even though we're all tutors, there's no sense of competition.
No, yeah, I agree.
And I just love that everybody looks at it from a collaborative perspective. It's a great group. I actually feel happy when I go in and look at the feed in the Insider Secrets Club in Facebook. So that's a really great measure of what is this worth. Is I look in and I go, this is really cool. And, you know, before you know it, you're commenting on things, and just, it's really wonderful. I feel very supported. I feel like my business has grown. And I've been a part of your audience for a long time.
Yeah, you have. You've been in the ultimate support group for quite a long time.
Yeah. And I did have, towards the beginning, I feel like I was in Insider Secret Club maybe 3 years ago.
Oh, like right from the onset. Like that was that would have been like right in the beginning.
Yeah, it was towards the beginning. And I turned it off because I had a couple of things going on.
Yeah.
But I always knew I was coming back. And then I came back and I went, whoa, there's a lot more.
Yeah. It just keeps getting better and better.
Absolutely. And it's just, you know, especially this year, I needed that support when I was like, okay, I'm starting out with 4 lessons on the table, and I need far more than that. And it gave me, it wasn't a struggle to do it because I had resources and I had support from you and from the group. And if it was a hard day, somebody to say, you got this, and just really wonderful.
Yeah. And you deserve that too, because that's the type of person that you are as well. You're just so supportive of everybody else and in the community. And like you said, like there isn't that feeling inside of the group of I'm competing against you. It's, hey, let's collaborate together and let's help each other grow the best business that we each can, because we can only take on so many students, each of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a plethora of them out there. So
yeah. I mean, Terry Grigsby reached out to me. I needed help with something. And she said, I'm going to help you. And we both tutor math.
Yep.
So, I mean, and she's taking her time and she's going to help me. And that's so huge and so appreciative. And shout out Boom Cha to
Terry.
Terry.
I don't think you're in here right now, but if you are, show us. No. If not, she'll watch this on replay and she'd be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, I mean, where else would that happen?
I don't think there's any other, I'm not aware of any other community out there that does this and has this much support for people that are getting started and growing their businesses on their own without having to tap into those like big companies that aren't going to pay you anything to be able to they're not going to pay you what you're worth. And I am all about you guys getting paid what you're worth, being supported and feeling like you're getting the resources and tools so that you can go out there on your own and you can just kill this and make this your career, your business path for whatever reasons that you choose, whether it's because you decided to be a stay-at-home mom or you're retiring or you are, you've decided you just want to leave the classroom, that you just want to work with kids one-on-one instead of, working with 35 kids at one time, or in some cases, 150, right? As you get into those older grades and you're seeing 150, 200 kids come on through every single day. It can become really overwhelming, and then the politics and all of that. And we try to take all of that away here in our community and just support each other. So yeah, absolutely. It's such a fun place to be here. Oh, Terry, you're getting lots of kind words here. She's not, I don't think she's here, but Sindhu's also saying that you helped her a lot when she was getting started. So Terry, you are getting called out today for all these good reasons. You're an amazing woman. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, girl. And she's actually coming onto our team. I'm making the announcement on spur of the moment. She is coming onto our team as a coach as well. So I'm building this community to have additional coaches so that we can continue to help more people that are building their businesses and getting the help that they need. So
she's going to be amazing. She has so much to bring to the table.
Yep.
Just in terms of the teaching math, growing the business. She's actually really fun.
She is so funny too.
She's so fun.
She makes me laugh all the time.
I'm sure her students are crazy about her because
oh my gosh, they have to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that we all bring our own different personalities to this whole thing. Like we've got some people that are a little bit more reserved, and we've got people that are, have lots of energy. We've got some people that are, they're still like in learning mode. And there's just so many different types of people that just this whole entire community just really work so well together. So it's so much fun to be a part of it.
And everybody is from all over the world.
Yeah.
And it just all works. And if someone's using a resource that's specific to a certain country, someone goes, oh, I know this other thing that's like it that can be used in the UK or in Canada or, and there always seems to be someone that has the answer.
Yes. Yeah. I'm always learning about like new resources and tools that to be able to use and from other people in the community. I feel like I know more now because of all the people in the community than I would definitely know all by myself. Like the whole collaborative piece of it and the just the whole group. What's that group think? That whole idea, like that group, like when you try to do something like on your own, you're only capable of so much, but you get groupthink involved, and all of a sudden just like amazing and powerful ideas come out, and all of a sudden you start like researching, and you're like, oh my gosh, this would be so awesome, we could do this, we could do this, and somebody throws out this idea and you're like, oh yeah, let's try that. And
absolutely. And even with the same tool, we could all approach it differently.
Absolutely.
And someone always comes up with a really great way that it could be used, that it wasn't intended to be used that way, but it works.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's that educational value in it, which is such a neat thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you again. Oh, Terry, you're getting another boom. Terry got a boom chime here. Terry is going to have to watch this replay because
he really is.
It's like a love fest on Terry. I love it. Well, congratulations again. I can't wait. In the next couple of days, you're going to get your award that you'll be able to put on your website and all this great stuff. So look out for that because it's coming in a couple of days for you. And thanks again for just sharing your story, what's been working for you with your business, and how you go about specifically teaching math online and all of that. It's been such a fun conversation to have. So I appreciate that.
This has been really great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you guys all enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.